What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ade Gman Q A. Once again, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you that have sent in your questions. Loads of questions again, loads of different questions as well. So you're not your typical who wins Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
Good to see. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind those questions, but it is nice to kind of mix it up now and again. Before we start, obviously, you guys, well, I say obviously, fingers crossed, you guys have watched the look back. Episode 1 is up right now. G-Man smiling already because I
It,
love doing it.
oh man, it
Gennady
was amazing.
Golovkin versus Kelbrook. It was good, wasn't it?
It was flipping epic to do. And you know what's weird? Like when you're watching the fight, because we haven't really watched that fight in a long time. It's like
Mm.
you're seeing stuff that you were like, I don't remember that happening. And
Yeah.
honestly, man, I don't remember Kell Brook taking as big a beating as he did. I'm still having nightmares over that. That was bad.
I'm having nightmares over the body shot he took at the end of round 1.
Yeah,
That would have I would have pissed blood for a month. Like, and how he stood up to that body shot. I mean, I know we like to credit toughness, right? When maybe you shouldn't, right? It's almost like don't credit fighters that take punishment, but sometimes you've got to put your hands up and say these guys are tough, mother. You know what? Like brutally tough, too tough for his own good. But yeah, it's a fantastic watch back. Sorry, look back. Well, it's kind of a watch back as well. So if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. I'm going to put the link up right now, so you can't say you don't know what I'm talking about. Go and give it a watch and tell us which ones in the comment section of that video you'd like us to do next. I think we're leaning to, I don't want to give too many clues away, but a heavyweight fight. That's all I'll say. I think we're leaning to a heavyweight fight. And it's quite, well, that's not even a clue because there are thousands of heavyweight fights that it could be.
Yeah,
but
needle in a haystack.
Needle in a haystack. Yeah, we are, because we think it's going to be a really good series because there are so many fights that you guys want us to do. All right, let's get into this Q and A. I'm happy to go first. This kind of is the question. This kind of answers, like this question here. I've pretty much just answered it with that opening rant. Just watch the look back. I love it. This is from Boris My Johnson. You guys are the best. What fights are you thinking of doing in the future? You laugh at everything, don't you, G-Man? I knew you were going to laugh at that name.
Some of the, childish. What can I say? Some of the names, it's just when you read them, it's like you can't help but laugh. There's one I can see here that I'm giggling at already, and he's asking about featherweights. What fights we think to do? Well, I think me and you, we love doing the heavyweights, as you said. And as soon as we did Kelbrook Triple Drew, we were like, let's talk heavyweights. Yeah. So I think with heavyweights, it's just, there's something special about them. You know, you could have a 1-round blowout or a 12-rounder. There's something still special.
Agreed. That's a good point. You're all right. I mean, even if it sort of goes early, there's still so much to talk about because they are heavyweights, and you know the heavyweight division is, you know, traditionally the best division in boxing. One that I am certainly going to do, I don't know when, but we're going to do it, is Lee Wood, Michael Conlan. If I had to kind of give you one, just because I think that's the closest to a Rocky movie that I've ever experienced ringside. I know there's Ward Gatti, and that's probably, you know, way above it, but in terms of me being ringside, that had everything, the ups, the downs, the fact Lee Wood couldn't celebrate, Michael Conlan being sort of knocked out the ring, the atmosphere in the crowd just ticked every box.
That was epic, and I will happily watch that back anytime again, even if we're not recording, just because it was that good a fight.
Yeah, indeed. All right, go on. What you got?
So we've got Richard the Fort, and he says, G-Man and Ade, I'm still in shock George Foreman is gone, as am I. How would a fight with him and Daniel Dubois go?
George Foreman would have sent him into another realm.
Well, I think Dubois maybe not would have won. Not that he would have won, but I think he would have given. George Foreman would have had a crisis in that fight. Peak George Foreman. He would have got buzzed at least.
Peak George Foreman is arguably the most intimidating and menacing heavyweight there's ever been, above Sonny Liston, maybe even above Mike Tyson. George Foreman's a top 10 heavyweight of all time.
Oh yeah.
Like peak for peak. No, I need to see more from Dubois. I love what Dubois has done in this recent form of results, but I still have the Joe Joyce thing in my head. I still have the Alexander Usyk thing in my head. You ain't getting that from George. You got to put George lights out. Like I think I almost feel like men back then were made different. I don't know what it is.
They were.
But no, George Foreman. I honestly, the punch power, and Daniel's got punch power. Don't get me wrong, but no, I'm going for Big George Foreman. I say Big George. Daniel Dubois is probably bigger than him, but I'm going for George to stop him in 4 or 5 rounds.
Oh, I agree. I think George Foreman would stop him as well. Just a case of when, not if. But I do think he'd be one of the few guys who will be able to intimidate Daniel Dubois,
Okay.
because
Yeah, it's
Daniel
true.
Dubois,
Actually,
you know what Daniel Dubois is like. It's just,
yes,
in the
it's
night.
literally another day. It's another day in the office. You're right. Actually, there'll be no intimidating. Jerome Miller tried to intimidate him, and he was like, "What is this? You're 100 pounds bigger than me. So the fuck what?" So
Every
no,
baby has a
that's
daddy.
you're right. Yeah. This one from Frag 1992 says best and worst places you've visited.
Best place. Paris, I really enjoyed. I went there a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it there. I love seeing the sights, and the food is really nice. This isn't the worst place I've ever visited because it's not nice. When I was a kid, my mom brought me on a trip to Clare for a week, County Clare, and we stayed in it, rural part of it, like where you look out your door and there's no house either way for about a mile. I hated every minute of it. I'm not a country kid like that, and I hated it, and I still won't go back now. All these years later.
Wow. Best for me, it's a toss-up between Cuba and Thailand. Love them both. Just love like eating the street food and all that kind of stuff. Just the energy. Two completely different places, but love them both. Worst, I don't know where in America, but there was a place in America. I was like, what the fuck's this? I think it was Nashville. And I don't know if sort of my color works down there, but I just felt like I felt the looks and the, like I just thought, I need to get out of here. So I'm probably going to say Nashville, Tennessee. The worst place. Yeah, worst place I've been. All right, go on.
In the South.
What accent is that?
I'm trying to do a Southern American accent and failing terribly.
Okay.
I'm failing terribly. Ian Hamilton says, non-boxing question. If you could both be in the time-defining moment we talked about to this day, which is it and why, different to my time period question a few weeks back. If we could both...
Wait, start again. Wait, 1 second. Start that again. I'm completely lost by that question.
If you could both be in the time-defining moment we talked about to this day, which one is it and why? Different to my time period one a few weeks ago. I think he's saying a specific time in history, as opposed to like just I said like the Old Kingdom, which is like it was like 1,000 years. So he wants a specific moment in history, I think, with that question.
Oh, like a specific moment, like when something happened.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Don't know. That's a tough question.
I'm going to say when they signed the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I'm going to say
that's an interesting one.
Just to kind of see kind of what was going on, and, was it all like they say it, we're all happy, go look here, was there any, toys being thrown at the pram? I wouldn't mind seeing that. Okay,
on that kind of theme then, I'd say when they maybe stopped slavery in America. So the time when I think it was George Washington signed sort of to abort slavery, although it probably still continued behind the scenes. Just the reaction from people in America. I find America a fascinating country, which is still, look, most countries have their sort of issues with racism and sort of, I don't know, class, if you like, but I find America just probably the worst when it comes to that. So it'll be interesting to see what those times were like back in the day. Ian always loves these deep questions, doesn't he?
What's the deep questions? That's why I always try and read them.
Yeah. This one, I'm not going to, because it's too many letters, but I'm just going to say user T9 says, did any of you watch the Contender TV show? I don't know if that's a question or one just to the whole group. I will say, yes, I watched it. I loved it. Nothing has come close since to it. Obviously, I work with Sergio Mora on the DAZN broadcast. He was in it. He was in the first one. He won the Contender series. So me and him always talk about it. I mean, it was just perfect TV. I mean, it had Sylvester Stallone and Sugar Ray Leonard as the host of the show. Do you know how crazy that is when you think about it? Peter Manfredo Jr. was in it. Ishe Smith was in it. He went on to become a world champion. The greatest boxing TV series, hands down.
I never seen it. I was probably a bit too young at the time to really.
Yeah, maybe.
But I heard of the Contender. I know what the concept, but can I say I ever watched it or gone back since and watched an episode? No, I can honestly say I can't. Genuinely.
I might have been episode 2 or 3. Paul Smith's in it.
No, is he really?
Paul Smith's in episode 2. Yeah, honestly, dude, it's the greatest. It's the greatest thing. Sakio Bika, I believe, was in episode 2 as well. Obviously, Sakio Bika had those fights against
Andre Ward, didn't he?
Andre Ward. Who else did Sakio? I think he fought Joe Calzaghe over here.
I think he
maybe about
actually.
15 years ago. I think so. Look, it produced some incredible fighters, but it's a concept that I think, I don't know if it works today, but it was fantastic. So many good contenders who were like 11-1, 11-0 coming through. And again, in the case of Sergio Moria, a fighter going on to become world champion. So incredible show. All right, go on. What you got?
I've got Jamie 73521. Who in boxing, past or present, deserves a film about them? I would go for Bob Arum biopic. Now, that's actually a good question. That's a really good question.
That's a great question.
Now, obviously, we know Muhammad Ali, played by Will Smith. George Foreman recently had one, so we can kind of maybe say like the ones who've already had one, maybe not. But I'm going to say Jack Johnson.
Okay. Why did you switch? You just said Bob Arum. Why did you change? Why
No. He says I would go for Bob Arum in the question.
Oh, that's what he would go for.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what he would go for. I would say Jack Johnson, first black heavyweight champion. That would be an interesting one. The struggles he had just to get that, and then once he got it, man, that would be if for those who've learned and know about Jack Johnson, that would make a hell of a film.
Dude, yeah, honestly, already in my head, I'm trying to think of actors that could play his role, but man. No, that would be sensational. I'm going to go for, on the Bob Arum theme, I'm going to go for Frank Warren. Especially now that I've got a bit of a relationship with Frank. Like, Frank took me out to dinner about a month ago, and obviously Frank, I don't know if you guys know this, is from Islington. He found out that I used to work for Islington Council, so he seemed to kind of appreciate my journey, if you like. But I mean, Frank got shot in the head. He survived the cartel. And when I mean cartel, I mean the people that used to run boxing before, Warren and Hearn. I just think his story from underground boxing to becoming the biggest promoter over here is just like, every time you think Frank's done, he seems just to find something, another life. So I think of Frank Warren, and I'm always obsessed with sort of gritty London. Like I love, like I think I've been pushing you on the Mobland forever. I love those kind of gritty gangster London films, and I feel like Frank's story could be a bit gritty and a bit gangster.
Who would play Frank? I'd say Danny Dyer. Would you do Danny Dyer as Frank Warren?
You know what it is? Danny Dyer's a bit typecast. He's just a bit, I don't know. I'd just give me a proper actor.
Yeah.
Honestly, just give me a proper actor. I don't even have to know who they are, but proper actor that could do him. All right.
That was a great question. That was a really good question.
Honestly, really good question.
That was an interesting thing.
Yeah. All right. Right. Should we just quickly? I'm going to run through these ones very quickly. Rob the old mongoose 7546. You know what someone said the other day, which is very disappointing because it's not clearly what we do. I'll read the question out. Someone's like, I'm not even going to ask the question because you only read out the members' questions. I'm like, huh?
No, we don't do that.
I just pick a question. I know what we stop.
One member's question.
This is ridiculous, isn't it? 5 matchups. Who wins? No sitting on the fence. Edwin Valero versus Chavez Senior.
Oh man, Chavez Senior every day.
Yeah, I mean, I know Valero had. Oh my god, crazy guy, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
killed his
family.
Not
in that sense.
No,
but the fighter,
crazy. Yeah. Love the fighter in him, but crazy guy. Povetkin versus Ray Mercer.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we go. Carlos Monzon versus Gennady Golovkin.
Oh no, you didn't do that. Oh crap.
I'm going to upset people. I'm going for Golovkin. I'm going to upset everyone because I know everyone considers Monzon the greatest middleweight of all time. Him or Hagler.
He would rip Triple G's liver to shreds though as well with those body shots. But I'm going with Triple G.
You know what it is? Yeah, yes, he would. Oh god, 15-round fighter as well. But I'm going for the GGG that we didn't see. So I'm going for GGG Germany, 29 years of age, fresh as a daisy, chin like granite. That GGG. Marciano versus Fraser. Ooh. Yeah, Fraser. Marciano was a small heavyweight, so was Fraser, but Fraser was beating people that were giants. Whereas Marciano didn't have to do that. Fraser still. You remove Foreman from Fraser's record because Foreman obliterated him. Fraser fucking killed a lot of people. I mean, beat Muhammad Ali.
Beat
Muhammad
Muhammad
Ali.
Ali. Yeah. I mean, there's no messing with Fraser. No way.
Yeah. All right, go on. What you got?
I've got Hatman's evil twin. 2 questions for G-Man. Where did your love of history come from? I'm a history teacher myself. My love of history just kind of came from, probably history teachers, actually, and just me finding it really, really interesting. Also, pop quiz. In 1066, who was the third claimant to the English throne? Harold Hardrada. Who succeeded Louis X of France? Louis X of France died in 1316, so it was King John I. And Egypt. What dynasty?
Wait, you're cheating. You're cheating. You've known about this question. I'm not having that you just know the answers like that. Fuck off. No
No,
way.
I do. No, Louis X. So Louis X was, his father was Philip IV. He died in 1314. His son died 5 days later. Then he was replaced by Philip V, who died in 1322, who was replaced by Charles IV, who died in 1328. That's when the 100 Years' War started, because there was no claimants. Yeah, you see, I do like history. And King Tut was 18th dynasty.
Mic drop. That's actually incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
Like I don't work and just listen to history podcasts a lot of the time because I just love it.
That's incredible. All right, this one from Big Toeman TVC says, "Is British boxing far superior to the USA?" Interesting question.
It's an interesting question. You open up a can of worms with that one. I'd say no. I'd say it's peaks and troughs. I'd say we've had our time where UK, and probably still in it now, where it is superior, in my opinion. Yeah, because we're getting the bigger fights in the UK. Triple G wanted to come to the UK to fight Kell Brook. Remember that? Canelo's talked about coming to the UK. And then you have other times where, like in the 90s, UK was nothing in comparison to the US. It was all in America.
The big issue for the US, I mean, we've got it over here, but no, not even comparable, is that in the US, boxing isn't a top 10 sport. Like I watch ESPN every day, and boxing news barely trickles onto ESPN, which is obviously the biggest network when it comes to sport. Like barely. I mean, I've seen them fucking talk about frisbee more than they talk about boxing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas over here, I mean, it's massive. Like we're talking, there's times when you could argue and say it's the second biggest sport. Like it's comparable to rugby or cricket. You know, it's never really drops to anything below fourth or fifth. So it's our second best sport. Let's just sake of the argument against their 12th best sport. So it's almost an unfair argument, but I'm with you. I mean, it has its dips, its highs and lows. America's got so many great fighters now to make it an incredible sport like it was in the 70s or 80s. But unfortunately, I think Turkey's realizing this. There's still so many issues when it comes to these fighters fighting each other and these fighters delivering.
Yeah. It's not going away anytime soon, unfortunately. I think the UK, again, we're better. We do get slightly more of what we want in the UK. And I think that's one of the big problems.
Yeah, and it's helped now as well, but obviously Frank and Eddie working with each other. And I think we started to see a relationship between Eddie and Ben and the Sowlands and their Channel 5 fighters fight. Obviously, look, Harlem Eubank's a great example fighting Jack Patrick. So all of a sudden, all the big four now cool.
Exactly.
So you can't compare it to America.
In America, promoters are not talking. They're suing one another. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolute Boxing. G-Man, will you ever bring Ade to Ireland and maybe bring him to a hurling or Gaelic football match? That'd be an interesting one to see you at a hurling or Gaelic match, actually. It'd be weird watching Irish football where they use their hands. That'd be an interesting one. I will definitely bring you to one. Even though I've been
to Ireland a few times, obviously. I've been to Ireland 5-6 times. And I've loved it. I think the Irish people are warm, incredibly funny, just nice people, like very, very nice people. You know, I actually went to Northern Ireland for the first time when I was like 15 to take part in a football tournament. Yeah, it's crazy, honestly, crazy. And obviously recently I've gone back for all the big boxing events. But and maybe I'm quite lucky because the Irish people that I'm around, Carl Frampton, obviously yourself, Andy Lee, the nicest human beings you could ever imagine. Like the nicest. So I've been lucky to experience sort of really good Thomas Carty. I'm good friends with him. Really good Irish people. So I would more than love to go to a good old Irish pub, get a nice pint of Guinness.
Oh yeah,
and a nice and
bring
then
it
some
to
nice
the grave
food.
diggers.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I just saw a great question. I'm gonna see if I can find it again. I say great. It's an obvious answer, but I just want to have this conversation, have this debate. Where was it? Sorry, it was surrounding Moses. Okay, this is it. William Jones 7640 says, who wins, 20-year-old Moses versus 20-year-old Tyson?
Oh God, 20-year-old Tyson.
Yeah.
I love Moses. Think he's tremendous, but man, that Mike Tyson was the youngest champ. Man, that guy was something different at 20. He was built like no other.
Dude, he was fucking just mate. Honestly, that Mike Tyson, remember, everyone was saying greatest heavyweight of all time. Prior to the defeats, that guy would, he'd have beaten Ali, he would have beaten this, he would have beaten this person.
They said he was going to get to 100. No. They said he was going to get to 100. No.
Yeah, and who knows? There's a part of me that still feels like if Acostumado didn't pass away, and if he wasn't influenced by all the outside girls and drugs and everything. I remember that famous image of him. It must have been in Japan prior to the Buster Douglas fight. And he's got like a white nose, and everyone assumes it's cocaine powder. I'm like, what the fuck has happened to Mike?
Yeah,
went into jail. Let's not go. Went 2.5 years in jail. Yeah, so
fighting Holyfield there.
I will say this about Mike Tyson. I'm happy and surprised he's alive. Like, if you were to have told me 15 years ago that Mike Tyson would be the guy that he's reinvented himself to be in, I would have said, are you crazy? Like, Mike's going to be lucky to be alive. So the fact that he now owns several weed farms and he makes so much money doing outside things, I'm so happy for him, and it surprises me.
I remember once Joe Rogan said to Mike Tyson, everything you've tried in your life, but you've never tried coffee. It's like, it's so random. And Mike goes, and you think with everything I've had, I would.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Mental, man.
Honestly, crazy.
TJG23 says, and all right, I'll tell you what I think now. If Dubois becomes undisputed and beats Usyk in the rematch, will that make him the greatest British heavyweight of all time? No. I don't think it will. I think Lennox Lewis has how many world title fights? How many other guys on his resume? Lennox Lewis is going to take some beat.
Okay.
It's good. It'll put him probably up there very much, but Lennox Lewis
resume looking good already. Like, win or lose on his resume, AJ, Joe Joyce, Miller, Hrgović, Usyk. Okay. Question. If he becomes undisputed, does he jump above Fury or AJ?
Oh, yeah.
Well, both of them. Did you say both? To both?
Yeah, to both. He's beat the guy who they couldn't beat, and he's undisputed. So I think he does. Yeah.
And his resume's thicker. Like, for Fury, I mean, obviously, look, Fury's incredible, right? But it's not Fury's fault that he fought Wilder 3 times. It could have been other guys. But those are the biggest wins, and it's just one name as opposed to 3 different opponents. So if you're Fury, your resume is not thick enough. Vladimir Klitschko, Wilder, I'll take Usyk, AJ, Miller, Hrgović over that. In saying that, Klitschko was unbeaten for 9 years, and Fury went to Dusseldorf and beat him. And we got to weigh these things up.
It wasn't like Klitschko was on the slide. It was like everyone was thinking he's going to win, and he just came in and was like, nope.
No. In fact, I think Fury. And he went to America and beat peak Wilder. Say what you want about Wilder, about his ability. He was a long-standing WBC champion, and he bashed him up 3 times.
He did. He beat him 3 times. So what I would say is probably not behind. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Fury is ahead, but Dubois has the time, and with maybe a Joseph Parker win, maybe that leaps him. So he's there. He's just there behind Fury, but he has time to easily jump over him.
Yeah, and he's got so many possible opponents. You mentioned Parker. You could chuck in Bacoli. Like, he's got opponents that he could fill that sack. Mate, honestly, we could say, what is he, 26?
27.
I don't know how this Dubois thing is going to play out. Sometimes I think he could get chinned by someone. But we could say, let's have this conversation in 5 years. He could jump Lewis, which I know sounds crazy, but he's got a run of opponents that are there. Moses is going to be chucked at him. Like, there's going to be fighters chucked at him that I think he could knock out. That's a really good question.
If he beats Usyk, not now, but that he's not ahead of Lewis, but that doesn't mean it can't change the next few years.
Okay, this very much on the American theme still, but I'm going to answer it. This is Sombrero Hero 8793. Yes, he's a member. Do you think that the US dominance of boxing has been lost, and also that it largely is due to the lack of heavyweights, although they still have top fighters in the lower weight classes. Yeah.
Well, they've always had top fighters in the lower weights. I remember years ago, like I think this before Wilder was even champion, saying back in the 90s, if you got a 6'3", 6'4" athletic guy who could punch, you put him in boxing. Now you put him in football.
Yeah,
and that's always going to be a problem.
Dude, I watch a lot of NBA. I don't necessarily watch a lot of NFL, but I'm not stupid. I can see the physicality of those guys. But I watch a lot of NBA as well, and you got guys like look at LeBron James is a great example. LeBron James is 265 pounds, 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
I mean, LeBron James 20 years ago is potentially that's the perfect build for a dominant heavyweight, like dominant heavyweight. LeBron James bigger than AJ.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, boxing's almost like the third or fourth choice for these guys that are built like that to go into. A lot of them, as you say, will go to NFL first. They'll go to NFL.
And as you said about the previous question about American boxing, it's the 10, 12th most popular sport, whereas back in the 90s, it was probably top 5. So maybe there's just not the allure that it had once upon a time. You have all the ability for it, but now football's better or basketball is better.
And to continue that conversation, it's the money as well. I mean, you can just about make a roster on the NFL and you're a millionaire. You can be in a team in the NBA and you're going to make a very, very good salary and without the dangers. I mean, to earn NFL and NBA money as a boxer, you're going to have to be the top 1% of the top 1%. And is that worth the risk of brain damage? Do you know what I mean? It's going to take you like years. And we're talking heavyweights here to get to that stage where you're making very, very good money. So even though Turkey's come along and he's paying these guys a lot of money, I mean, you have to get to the stage where he pays you first.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work. So there's no guarantee you even get there.
Yeah. But as for the low weight classes, I mean, America have got so many fucking great lower weight class guys. Yeah, so it's not about the low weight class don't put eyeballs on the sport, unfortunately. I mean, and if they do, they're not fighting each other, i.e. Keyshawn, Shakur, Javante. If those guys are fighting each other, it could be a bit like the Four Kings of many, many moons ago, but it's not happening. All right, a couple more.
Many moons ago. Ryan asks, do you see Jake Paul beating Badu Jack, assuming he beats Chavez? No. Badu Jack still has plenty left in the tank.
Get the fuck out of here.
Jake Paul beating Badu Jack. Guy got beat by Tommy Fury.
You must be crazy. But there must be a plan. There must be a plan for Jake, but no, don't.
Tommy Fury rematch, I reckon. That's the plan for them.
No interest in that.
No,
no.
I didn't want. When the first one happened, interest. Now, not really. I'll watch it, but no interest.
All right, last one. This is from WBA Mitch. Apologies, guys. I know so many questions come in, and obviously we kind of stick to like a 25-minute, half an hour time slot, and we are approaching that now. So apologies if your question didn't get answered. Don't mean that I won't answer it next time. I probably will. Says, just wondering if you could confirm when the episodes are for members only. I plan to be a member soon, but can't at the present moment. You know what it is? Sometimes there is no logic to it. Sometimes I say, okay, members only. But sometimes if they're really good questions and we've answered a lot of non-member questions, then I'll just put it out for non-members. I really should just make it members only, but it is what it is. I want everyone to experience it because I love the Q&As. I know G-Man loves doing them.
We do.
So why can't I put it behind a paywall? So honestly, WBA Mitch, I'd love to have a proper answer for you and say it's once a month and it's this time, it's that time. But at the moment, there is no structure. It's just how I wake up in the morning and feel. So so this one's probably going to be non-members. So enjoy it because there is going to be a time when obviously I'm going to have to put it behind the paywall for the members. But for now, I want everyone to experience it. All right, guys, girls. We, by the way, are back in sort of location next week. So this is the last time you are going to see us on Zoom, thank God. So all of you that are ridiculing G-Man's setup, I guarantee you, it will in about 2 to 3 weeks, ain't going to look as good as this. That's going to look pretty good.
No, we won't know as that, but it's going to look a little bit better. Watch the space.
Yeah. You know what I want to do? I want a special shout out to the Mrs. Pamela. G-Man, you've met her many times, right?
Many times.
Many times G-Man's met her. And I never really mention her on anything I do. So there you go, Pamela. There you go. There's your wonderful mention. But no, honestly, she's like the rock behind me. I have so much fucking ideas, and she's the one that always says, I always say I've got to exercise patience. It's her that says that to me. Exercise patience. But yeah, a lot of you don't know I have a missus. I do have a missus. So no more sliding the DMs, all right?
Yeah.
I'm taken for.
But we love Pamela. She is wonderful. She is absolutely wonderful.
She's fantastic. She's a big fan of Gman as well. All right, guys, girls, there you go. We will see you next week. Take care.